friends. Welcome to the Coup Coach Cast with Jim Glogowski. I'm Chad Birger, and today I'm joined by my co-host Sam Dooyema. We'll talk with University of Sioux Falls head football coach Jim Glogowski to discuss the Cougars game against Winona State University and preview the upcoming matchup against Wayne State. Special thanks to our sponsors, Atomic Wings and Unlimited Painting. You can watch this show every week during the USF football season on YouTube or on the USF Cougar Tailgate page on Facebook. Make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube or sign up for notifications or follow the Tailgate page on Facebook. The Cougars, in game number 9 of the season, hosted the Winona State Warriors, and this is how it went. The Cougars ended up 49-24 with the victory, improving the Cougars' record to 6-3 overall in the season, 5-3 in conference. Dropped Winona State to 4-5 overall, 4-4 in conference. And we'll talk about the scoring summary here in a little bit with Sam and Coach, but Sioux Falls was behind 14-6 at the end of the first quarter, but then had a strong second quarter to take them into halftime with the lead and ended up cruising through that third quarter with 3 more touchdowns and tacked on 1 more in the fourth quarter for that 49-24 victory. Let's go ahead and bring in Sam and Coach, and we'll see how everyone's doing this morning. Coach.
I'm just actually having a bite of my twin bing.
You got some leftover Halloween candy there, Coach?
You know, I was fortunate enough, found out from last week that one of our players' father brought me an entire box of twin bings, not only the originals, which are delightful in their own right, with a little cherry insert.
The nutty chocolatey cherry treat.
How about this? The caramel. Is it caramel or caramel? I think it's caramel, right? Well, look at that little tasty little nugget. Delicious. So to my surprise, I'd never been a twin bing guy before. We talked about chocolate candies last week. But my goodness, shout out to Mr. Bork, Hannah Bork's father, who's a Sioux City guy down there, Sioux City Heelan. He brought up 72 twin bings, which what else do you need after Halloween other than 72 twin bings? And both varieties, delicious. But I think if I had my choice on a daily basis, I'd go with the caramel. Delicious.
Awesome. Well, I was going to say, Palmer's, if you're watching, hit us up for a sponsorship. We'd love to have a new sponsor on the Coup Coach Cast, Twin Bing.
So we have plenty of candies to go around for the staff here. Outstanding.
I'm glad they like it, Coach. So I'm glad to hear the Halloween candy is still getting tasty. How did the costume contest go on Friday? I know we got a game to discuss, but I got to ask who won the costume contest?
Well, it was awesome. We had a little bit of a unique little, I guess it wasn't a contest as much as the women's softball team was in the weight room while we were doing our walkthrough. So the ladies were kind enough to, I had a 30 pack of candy bars, and the girls got to pick out the top 30 costumes. I don't know if we have some of those or not, but
I'm efforting right now here.
But we had a very, very positive turnout. One of the most original was Alex Maxim was dressed up as a porta potty, the large cardboard box. I don't think that made the slide, but Jerome Jackson was very impressive. He painted his face. The Joker outfit was impressive. We had actually one of the most impressive ones was Kane McWilliams was dressed as Tiger Woods in red Sunday. He had the polo, the red, the white long sleeves. He was walking around doing the fist pump. That was fun. But yeah, all in all, it was a great time. And the ladies were kind enough to pick out some of the top costumes. And so we handed out 30 candy bars and had a great time on our walkthrough on Friday.
Well, I'll see if I can get those uploaded here during the show, Coach. I apologize. That was a mistake on my end.
Yeah, that's my fault. I jumped the gun. I thought we had the perfect lead-in from the candy, Chad. So
that's how you know this is not scripted. This is just off the cuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is how you know you're getting the best. This is live analysis here from the Coup Coach Cast.
No, it was fun, and we try to do things like that. And I think sometimes you get so focused in the game and all that stuff that you forget these guys are still here to have fun and enjoy it. And so the costume contest was fun. I'm sure that this weekend there was some Halloween festivities going on and kids were taking part in, costumes and all that, dressing up. But yeah, kids had a great time. Coaches got dressed up. Coach Luters won the costume contest for coaches. He actually had 2 costumes. During the day, he was dressed as Captain Pete Maverick, the actual bomber jacket, the T-shirt, the whole ball of wax, and the aviators. And then at practice, he had the actual flight suit. So that was impressive with the Army boots and the whole green getup. So that was impressive. I thought Coach Bridges was solid. He was LL Cool J. That was impressive. Kind of a throwback. I could appreciate that one. Yeah, overall, I think the kids. Coach Schlicht, he kind of took the easy way out. He dressed up as I think as a professional golfer. That was kind of it was awesome, but it wasn't super original. I think he had that stuff in his closet. So, yeah, all in all, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Kids enjoyed it, and we had our walkthrough on Friday, and then of course the game on Saturday. So.
There was a trunk or treat on Saturday, Coach. I was able to partake with the children too. So Josiah got loaded up with the candy. Each team, it's kind of fun. There was all the athletic advisory committee put it on. Mm-hmm. And so all the different teams. So Josiah got to go from like the swimming team to the basketball team, got loaded up with candy. And we got some shots of, I don't think I have one of his costume, but yeah, it was a gorgeous day for football on Saturday. And you guys coming out with the W made it even better.
Yeah, great weekend all around, real positive weekend. And we had a bunch of recruits on campus, got a couple commits over the weekend. So, yeah, all in all, just a great weekend.
Well, Sam, go ahead and take us through the scoring summary from the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but we got a couple shots from the game. We just wanted to show, we talk about this great fall day that we had. So Josiah and I enjoying the game there from the stands, and we were a little bundled up. It was a nice crisp fall day, but it was awesome. We busted out the TV. I know it's not an SEC show, but we did watch a little bit of Vandy before kickoff there. So we had the TV and the generator rolling. I was trying to teach Josiah a little bit of horns down. It didn't unfortunately work. They lost by 3. But I think Chad might have somebody come in for his future job as sideline buddy. You can see Josiah there breaking down, or that he's going to have a direct line to coach on the sideline to just figure out the offensive play calls. I think he's going to be an offensive guy. So just be warned, Chad, that I think Josiah might be our future sideline buddy if we need to get like a youth movement going on here. So you've been warned.
I'm all for it. Bring it on. Let's go, Josiah. We can have 2 sideline reporters down there.
There we go. That's what we really need to do. We need to up our production values again here. Once we get that Palmer sponsorship, I think we'll be rolling in the candy money. We can really go from there.
All right. Well, scoring summary, Sam.
Yes, absolutely. So as Chad mentioned, hot start for the Warriors, actually. It was 14-0 early due to and as Isaiah Beal 2-yard pass from Flotmeyer, and then to cap off a 11-play 79-yard drive, and then they went down the field quick after a long run to cap off a 95-yard drive that ended with a Jim Curtin 25-yard pass. And before we had gotten settled into our seats, hardly, it was 14-0 Warriors, but USF responded well. Kristen Janis hauling in a 44-yard touchdown pass from Tate Schaefer. The PAT was unfortunately blocked, but we have a great shot of this coming up later in the show. A great end zone shot from this from our buddy Sam Tasted, USF alum and Dakota News Now videographer. So it was 14-6 at the end of that first quarter. USF really got their offense going there in the second quarter with Noah Robertson hauling in a 16-yard touchdown pass from Schaefer. And then the 2-yard the 2-point conversion was good with the Bubba Tan hauling in a pass there. And then Robertson would have another 2-yard pass from Schaefer, and JT Frieder's kick was good. Winona would tack on a late field goal. We could maybe discuss a little bit about that prevent defense, that little quick 2-minute offense that Winona kind of got in position to make it 21-17 heading into the half. But Coach, how were you guys feeling at half? I didn't mean to dissect your prevent defense there, but that second quarter overall, it was great to see you guys respond after that fast start by the Warriors.
Yeah, I think the first 2 drives, that's certainly not how you want to start the game. I thought, we had some new guys that hadn't played a whole lot of starting games, and so they were kind of getting comfortable. And we knew the running back was a quick kid that could hit the seam and go. And I think, they got us a little bit early. They had some short passes, and I'll be honest with you, I thought maybe that would be something they would attack us with in the flat all day long, but we kind of stayed true to our game plan. And Cap did a nice job of just kind of being patient. And then ultimately, at the end of the half, that was a little disappointing. I think there was 50 seconds left. And the big play was the window, kind of the ball he threw right in the window there on the sideline, on our sideline, that our corner just didn't get enough depth. And so, that's on me, honestly. We hadn't spent a ton of time on 2-minute drill type stuff. We just hadn't. The last 2 weeks at the Minot, we kind of shelved it because we were working on that stuff with the triple option. And so, probably in hindsight, that's on, should have done more preparation with that in those situations, because I think sometimes that you need to refresh the kids' minds that when they're attacking us in the 2-minute drill, you don't have to jump the short route. Make sure you sink, get depth, and provide underneath support. And we just got a little too aggressive on the ball that was short, and he threw the ball over our head in front of the safety and got down and kicking the field goal. So, but all in all, hard to be too upset when you're down 14-0 and you're still going into halftime at 21-17 with the lead, knowing we had the ball coming out to start the second half. I mean, I felt good about where we were at, and I really felt like offensively, I expected them to be pretty tough up front running the football. They do a really nice job of stunting and twisting and some of the things they do, very similar to what we do, ironically, on defense. But all in all, I felt like having the lead, getting the ball, start the second half, I felt pretty good about where things were headed.
All right. So then in the second half.
Yeah, as we headed into that third quarter, though, it would be all Cougars from there. So Christian Ash would start the scoring off with a 2-yard touchdown run. Frieder's kick was good to cap off a 79-yard, 7-play drive. And then following some Winona State turnovers, Jordan Smith would have a 7-yard touchdown run with Frieder's kick good. And then Bubba Tan ripped off a 21-yard touchdown run. And again, before you even get settled in that third quarter blink, you guys are at 42-17 at the end of that third quarter. Winona State would tack on a late touchdown there to start the fourth quarter. And then Schaefer would answer one more for the coup to put that final score at 49-24. Game got out of hand. I know, Coach, you were able to empty the bench a little bit. It was great to hear some new names, both on offense and defense, once we got into that fourth quarter. But what really happened in that third quarter, Coach? I know, like I said, there was some, from what I remember, some untimely penalties on Winona, and that's not to diminish what you guys did. Just extending some drives, but you guys were able to capitalize on those opportunities and those mistakes by the Warriors to really put the game out of hand.
Yeah, I think the momentum as far as turned really quickly on the tempo offensively, and I think that's something that it's kind of an interesting time of possession is something that we focus a lot on. Controlling the clock and controlling the football is something I'm really into. But you also want to score points. You don't want to drag the game down where you can't score. And so having some tempo to start the second half, I thought was really impressive. I think Lucas did a good job of kind of getting the ball going with Isaiah right away on the RPO, and then came back and hit Bubba on an inside run, and then came back and threw the ball again. And I think those things kind of get on defense on their heels. And then once we got to the 28-17 mark, I think we got a turnover. That helped probably more than anything, is the 2 interceptions that we had in the second half really got us going, especially the one with I think it was Cade Morse had the one on our sideline that it was the very next play after a touchdown. We got the ball right back, and then we punched it in. And at that point, if you're an offense, you got a lot of juice, a lot of excitement. Defensively, you're sitting there going, man, here we go, right? We can't get a stop. And I think it just kind of snowballed a little bit. And then the huge drive, I think it was about the beginning of the fourth quarter where we took off about 6 or 7 minutes on the clock was really positive too. So, all in all, it's just everything fell into place. I thought after the first 2 drives defensively, we settled in. They had one more sustained drive there in the second half. But for the most part, I thought we did a nice job of making them earn it. And then field possession was huge. I think we had a short field several times. So anytime that you don't have to drive 70 or 80 yards, you got a chance. Obviously, the odds are better you're going to score.
Coach, I wanted to kind of piggyback off one thing here. You had 4 touchdowns in the second half. First off, I demolished some wings at halftime. I feel like that always propelled you guys to a tremendous second half. But 4 touchdowns, all rushing, 4 different guys carrying the ball here. Running back was one of the question marks that a lot of Cougar fans had coming into the season, but you've had some guys step up this season for you at the running back position.
Yeah, it was good to see. And I think Jordan and Christian have kind of had their turns there at running back, and Bubba's been pretty solid all year long. And then Tate got some action, and of course, as we talked about this earlier in the year, Cam Dean was a big part of a running game. We considered him more of a running back because of how much he carried the football for us. And so these last couple weeks, certainly having a different focus and trying to maybe keep that quarterback out of harm's way a little bit, trying to get those guys more involved in some of the Wildcat stuff we did. But I would say, and we kind of mentioned this before the show, but from an offensive standpoint, getting a lot of guys involved, that's always been kind of our MO. I think Lucas done a great job in the offensive staff of spreading the ball around. And Saturday was a great example where I think Noah Robertson had 2 touchdown catches, but otherwise, I think the other 5 touchdowns, like you said, was 5 different guys. And so when guys are involved and guys are excited, it keeps them engaged. And that's also part of this big picture is how do you get everybody involved, spread the ball around so that you can have a chance for other guys to make an impact. The more impact they make, the more engaged they are, and it's just cyclical that way. So, yeah, all in all, very proud of the guys and how we got the ball distributed.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. Before we go to the coach's clicker here, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about one of our sponsors this season, Unlimited Painting. You can reach Unlimited Painting at 605-403-9222. Let's go ahead and see the video here, the commercial, and listen to Durant.
Hey, Sioux Falls and surrounding areas. I'm the owner of Unlimited Painting. Our licensed and insured crew delivers professional results on time and within budget. Not only are we quick, easy, and affordable, but we're going to transform your space with lasting impressions. Unlimited Painting, professional, dependable, and done right the first time. We're offering 15% off any exterior project. Give us a call now for a free quote.
Durant, former USF player, has his own business here in town called Unlimited Painting. Make sure to support them for all your painting needs, whether it's interior painting, exterior painting, staining, cabinet painting, or a lot of other things they can do. They did my deck. They put sealant on top of my patio this summer. So they do all kinds of services. Call them at 605-403-9222, 605-403-9222, or visit them online at unlimitedpaintingsf.com. You can also check out the Facebook page. So, Durant obviously loves, sponsoring the show and everything, but I want to highlight some of the plays from Saturday next up with the coach's clicker. So, you ready for this one, Coach?
Let's roll.
All right. So the first play, these obviously all video here is courtesy of the U.S. Athletic Department, the NSIC Network, and we've also got one from our friend Sam Tastad at Dakota News Now as well. So the first one I want to highlight is right away in the game. This one, Winona took the first possession, went down and scored, and then you guys came out, and I feel like Tate Schaefer and Adonis Hutchinson kind of have a little bit of a good connection going on right now. But this is one of those plays where coming out and just hitting him down the sideline on that little fade pattern, and Adonis does a great job of hauling that one in.
Yeah, and I think, he's so smooth, Adonis. He does a great job of stacking that DB and getting on top of him and then kind of keeping himself between the ball and the body of the defender. And, we played Minot last week. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week or not, but the Minot coach after the game was like, man, two can really run. And I'm like, yeah, I think he can really run. He's pretty fast. But I don't know if it's because he's such a strider, if it always looks that way on film. But he's one of our faster guys, and he's got great hands. And he's doing a really good job of the confidence level of, you can see him just smooth catches the ball, and it's a great placement by Tate. Give him a chance to make that play, and it's either our guy or no guy. And if he doesn't catch it, it goes out of bounds. Okay, fine, teed up again. But, we want to be aggressive and throw the ball downfield, and I think certainly having guys on the perimeter that can make catches and get in position to make the play certainly helps. And that's just a really good route by Adonis and a better throw by Tate.
Yeah, great pass pro as well by that O-line there, giving Tate a pocket and just sitting in there and being able to throw a dime like that.
Well, and I mentioned that in the post game. I think sometimes we talk about the individuals, and rightfully so, right? Hank and Adonis and Isaiah and Janice and all these guys and Bubba. But again, you can't say enough about the guys up front. I think they've really gelled well up front, done a nice job. And, right now you got Jerome Jackson and Brady Copel and Ziggle Bauer and Caden Moss, Tyler Eukin. Those guys have been really solid up front. And you've had some other guys in there too with, Jack Zolzinski, and you've had, I'm not trying to forget anybody here, but we've had Sawyer Huntmer, some of those guys, and Grant Kaiser, and all those guys have done a really nice job. Kate Mason. I just felt like that group has really come along, and they've stayed relatively healthy, and that's helped our development and our progression.
All right. So you guys end up not scoring on that one. You end up having to punt on that drive, and you give the ball back. And then this one I want to bring up here because it kind of shows a little bit of the heart of the program. It's not a super positive play for the Cougars in this case. So you punt, get them down inside the 10-yard line, and then they end up, going on a long run. And at this point, their running back, who has a lot of speed, has the seam, he has the edge. Your guys could have just gave up on this play, Coach.
Yeah, and if you go back to the very beginning, there's just some things that some teams are doing to us that, because the kind of defense we run with the middle backer most of the time, you can see the slot receiver down here to about the 12, 13-yard line, and the guy on the 10-yard line, they're both going down inside to crack, right? So they're trying to pin those guys. So what that does is, number 14, for example, as his guy goes to crack the inside defender, he's got to replace. We call that a crack and replace. And I think what happened a little bit of a domino effect at the very beginning of the play when it starts off. London Cole, number 9 here, the outside backer, he's just a little hesitant to go set the edge. And then the middle backer is a little bit slow getting there. And the number 7, Bo Giblin, it's just got to go faster. And if everybody just slows down just a hair, it creates that diagonal alley that you can see it's coming. And it's really a well-designed play by Winona, give them credit. And Mo Diarra is the guy that's probably unknown. But watch Mo. He's the backside defensive end. He's chased this thing from behind. He almost catches it himself, and he trips right there on the 22. But give Garrett Hoffman and Malo Wells and all these guys chasing the ball a lot of credit. Because to be honest with you, there was a similar play to that earlier in the year where we didn't catch them against Northern State. And we talked about, our effort and all those things. You got to make them teed up again. And unfortunately, they do score on this. But those are the kind of things that, you coach these things and these effort things up all the time. And you never know when they're going to pop, when it's going to happen. But the kids have the ability to demonstrate hard all the time. And that's one of those ones that's out in the spotlight. You can see it clean as day. But the effort was really good. He sweeps the leg, the ankle like we talk about, gets him on the ground and really – minimizes what could have been an 80, 85, 90-yard touchdown into a 65-yard gain, which is not good, obviously. But, you just got to make them teed up again and earn it and not give them a cheap one. And that was a great effort by him.
Yeah, and I think that's something that the fans notice, right? I mean, these guys are out there playing hard. You're going to give up some plays every now and then, okay? But don't give up on plays. Celebrate your victories, things like that. And that was just a positive play. So then they go up 14-0, Coach. You guys are – obviously not where how you want to start, but your guys are still talented too. And so you come out the next series down 14-0, and who are you going to go to? Number 1.
Hank Brown, yeah. HBJ, as Tom likes to call him, HBJ. Yep. Yeah, and it's a really nice job here. And I thought, these guys were playing what we would consider sometimes a lighter box. So they've got the 4 down linemen and the 3 backers. And when we got into this spread set with these 2 receivers to each side, you can see 52 and the linebacker on top kind of get pulled out of the box. And in this particular situation, we went to an empty look. And really what it boils down to is you got to have a nice throw here. It's got to fit in between. I know we probably don't have the end zone shot, but on the end zone, you can see where Tate throws it way before Hank even makes his break. And as Hank makes the break, it's right on time. And honestly, if Hank stays a little bit more vertical, right here, he kind of cuts in a little bit early. You can see that safety on about the 47-yard line up there at the bottom of the Cougar. That safety kind of closes on it, and the guy on the back of the Cougar, that's kind of a narrow window there. But if he just gets a little bit more vertical and bends it, he might catch this on the front hind leg of the Cougar and be a touchdown. But nonetheless, it's a quick catch, quick throw, and now we're rolling because that's a 3rd down. We get stopped there. We're punting down 14-0. That's a huge play in the game. And, we certainly don't want to be in these positions, but we do feel confident that we can get a 1st down at any time. But you just, you can't press your luck. If you're living in that 3rd and long, that eventually it's going to catch up to you. And, unfortunately, we didn't have too many of those that caught up to us, but it's a really good throw. It's a really good catch. The protection is really good. They decided not to blitz or bring pressure. And that's just a window that we got to fit the ball in there. And he does a nice job of firing the ball on time. And again, give Hank credit for securing the catch because this guy's going low on him right here. And that's sometimes tough to keep your focus.
Yeah, I'd be worried about my knees and ankles on that, Coach. I don't know. Hank is a little bit tougher than I am, apparently.
He bounces up, and he got hit a few times. And even later on in the game, he catches a bubble and runs through a guy. And so that's, to your point about the defensive guys hustling and chasing people, you see offensive guys running through people. That's what you want to see, that effort, that want to. We're not big into sliding down and run out of bounds and stuff like that. We want guys to be physical and finish the play. And it's more of a mentality than anything else. And when you create that mentality, it carries over. And hopefully in situations like that, it shows itself.
Yeah. So then a little bit later, Schaefer goes up top.
Yeah, really good job of stepping up. And they're bringing pressure, right? You can see they're in man coverage because they're motioning guys. And they kind of get confused. They check. Now there's a little bit of unsure who has who. And this is a really good job by Christian. And again, you don't see the tight angle, but he does a nice job of staying vertical, right on the top of those numbers, the 40 and the 30. He stays on top of those numbers and gets that DB to backpedal. And then right when he gets to head and shoulder fake, the DB actually turns his back. And at that point, he sticks his foot in the ground and breaks to the post. And that gives him the chance to get on top of it. Now all you got to do is drop a guy, 40-yard ball right in his lap with a guy in your face. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's not simple. But he connects, and it's a great catch. And, Christian had a kind of a long week. He didn't practice much, so we were able to get him to go on Saturday, and that was a huge play. And he's been he's always been a guy that can get down the field vertically. And so when you can get him loose like that, and look at Hank, and look at all these guys. Hankus, obviously all these guys are excited for each other's success, and that's what you want to see is guys truly team guys that care about the success of the team. Here's a great look at it here. I mean, he's on the run. He's moving his feet. That thing's a tight spiral, and he drops her. He hits him right in stride. It's an easy, I won't say easy, but it's an easy catch that he's got to make. And really happy for this kid. We all know he had a tough one a couple weeks ago, right before half against Augie, but he's now made some big time catches against Southwest and against this one here on Saturday. And those are plays that he can make. And again, we're excited for him because obviously it gives the kids confidence, and you want kids to feel good about themselves and be able to make those plays. But yeah, heck of a job by Tate stepping up the pocket and dropping that thing in there. And that's the thing, sometimes you want to take it and run, but you also have to put the ball in the air to try to make big plays. You can't make big plays if you don't throw it. And so that's required, and he's got to make that play, and it's a great job.
That last video that you saw was courtesy of our friend Sam Tastad over at Dakota News Now. So thanks, Sam. Shout out Sam Tastad. All right. Let's see if we can pull up the next video here. This next one I got is, I think, one of the things that kind of sparked you defensively a little bit then later on. So they get the ball back, and then you kind of get them in a passing type situation. They're substituting guys in, and you do a little bit of a stunt here up front.
Yeah, part of the problem in the first quarter was we couldn't get them in 3rd and long. And we felt pretty good about 3rd and long with some of our 3rd down package. And again, Cap does a nice job with this 3rd down package. You got 3 defensive linemen on the field. But you got James Woodward, number 96. You got 56 out there as Max Elrod. I think 54 is Deshaun Rolick. And then you got Denham Blackson, a true freshman. So all 4 of these guys, redshirt freshmen and freshmen, just getting after the quarterback, and a nice stunt here. And this is pretty special for Deshaun Rolick. This is Deshaun's first sack in his career, high school or college. And he was poised for a huge senior year. Had a knee injury during summer camps, missed his entire senior season, came here, rehabbed, redshirted, and now as a redshirt freshman to go out there and get a sack. Sioux Falls Jefferson product, like I said. I mean, just awesome for him. But those guys, I'll give those guys a lot of credit. They really stepped up this week. I think we had 3 sacks. But that was really good to see, and you just see him swallow up the quarterback, and those guys are pretty strong. Both him and Max are extremely strong, extremely versatile, and then obviously the ability to make the play at the very end. I know he was fired up, and our kids are fired up for him because he was our Love's, not to try to get another sponsor in here, but he was our Love's truck stop snack of the night last week when he got the salad in the post game on the way back. It was 2 weeks ago from Minot, but last week I guess it was. Yeah, it runs together. So now, and then the funny part was, then we got like a team chat, and he's putting out there that he had a salad on Saturday night after the game. So not only is the guy making sacks, he's worried about his figure, which you can never argue with that.
So, Coach, I want to talk about this stunt real quickly. So I think you got Elrod here as the bottom defensive tackle, and then you got a linebacker in there. But I think Elrod does a really good job on this one of attacking the center's kind of left shoulder on this one. And what that does is that really occupies that center so that he can't come back off of that and kind of hand off the defensive tackle to the right guard. And then you got Deshaun coming free on that one.
Yeah, we talk about all the time. You never know if you're the one that's going to come free, right? So don't be shocked when you come scot-free, and that's exactly what Deshaun does. But give Max credit, because if Max stays on the outside shoulder of this guy and doesn't rip across his face, I'm not so sure that thing is as tight and as wide open as it needs to be for Deshaun. If he gets bumped out to the right there a little bit as we look at it, he's going to run into Deshaun, and it's not going to be as effective. So, and then give James credit on the outside, number 96. He cannot bite the cheese. When we say cheese, you watch the gap to the inside of 73. That's very enticing. If he sticks his right foot in the ground and comes across 73's face, that guard might end up turning back inside and seeing Deshaun. So he's got to kind of take one for the team. And then, again, Jordan Medrano, number 0, showing pressure to get the guard's attention. So, we talk about these things. There's so much that goes into this, and it's just really fun, and it's exciting when it works, right? You certainly hope it's going to work. You think it's going to work, but until it works, you don't really know. And so, the kids did a great job. They have great pocket, keep the quarterback in the pocket. We just felt like if we could get them in the 3rd down, we had a chance to make them pay for that on the pass rush stuff.
Yeah, excellent. Congrats to that young man. Keep eating salads. I don't know if I can go salad as a sponsor of the show, though.
True freshman, West Lyon, Iowa.
Sorry, you got Tom's audio in there for a little bit.
I was like, ooh, look at this.
Yeah. So
fun
this one
here, right? Yeah, fun here. Tate gets in the game. We have a package now with some of this Wildcat stuff with Tate. He got a little bit of snap to the quarterback, which actually is Tate. And then he runs a little sweep. He flips it back to Tate, kind of a double reverse pass. I guess you'd call it a reverse pass. And then this is pretty impressive. This throw And this is probably, this is pretty impressive. He throws back across his body on a rope before the safety can get there. And, this is a nice throw. It's a nice throw. It's a really nice catch. But to be able to put that thing on the money like that is one of the more impressive throws he had all day.
We'll watch it one more time here. So Schaefer shifts out to his position, and then Hoff takes the snap, pitches it back to Schaefer, and then Schaefer, running to his right, throws it back across the middle and puts it where only Noah really has a shot to get it.
Yeah, and if you rewind it one more time, the other part of that too is really it was probably designed for Isaiah, number 13. He's around the hash here. But again, this is when you get a kid playing with confidence. So watch 13 on the shallow under. It's kind of a variation of our tight end delay. If you want to kind of give it to that, kind of that example with our tight end delay stuff, as we run it so much, people are sitting on it now. And so we're finding different ways to run the same play with a different guy. And so 13 kind of comes down, acts like he's blocking, and then he slides underneath. And that was probably the more intended target. But again, kid with confidence, he feels like he can make the play in the throw, and you don't want to squash that. So nice throw by him and a great catch.
So then at that point in the game, Coach, you're down by 2 points, and you decide, hey, we're going for 2. There was a little bit of, back and forth on the sideline there, but you decide you're going for 2. And this is the play call that comes out of this. And I thought this was a great play call as well.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and you wonder, is it too early to be chasing points and all that kind of stuff? But I wanted to be aggressive. That's one of the things we talk about with our kids. And this is kind of a little bit of a slip screen. And again, the more watch Caden Moss and Ziegelbauer, the left guard and left tackle. These two get out in space. 77
at 77 and 75 right here. They're
Moss
both on about the 2-yard line.
Moss is about 6'5", 6'6", 315 pounds. I mean, that's a pretty athletic thing. And Ziegelbauer, we talk about this a lot, losing him to the win side. He's going to make that guy go back door. When the guy fights over the top, then it's a touchdown. But those two guys really make this play happen. Really nice job by Bubba. Obviously nice throw, but those two big offensive linemen getting out there, that's good stuff. When you have guys that are talented, it makes the play call pretty easy. But that's a heck of a call by Coach Lueders there. I know we got BPG here. Sorry.
It's all right. We're just past Halloween, Coach. So we'll let one go here. Couple more plays to go through right now. The next one that we have up, this one is in the second half. I wanted to put some more defensive plays in here, Coach.
Yeah, I see we're getting back to the old ways of all offense, but that's all right. It's all right.
Well, when you score 49 points, it's hard to choose. I had to leave a lot of offensive plays out.
You could show a blank wall for all I care if we win. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. But this is a great job here. This is where a little bit of pressure, and you watch Caleb Brasher, who our defensive tackle, coming around, looping, getting right in the quarterback's face, forces a high throw, and then give credit to Kane McWilliams. Kane makes a really nice catch, and more impressive is him, toe tapping this thing, getting his foot in bounds at the end. But and then he takes a victory lap on their bench, which I wasn't super excited about that. But
his momentum took him out.
Yeah,
there.
That's what he said. That's what he said. Yeah. I will say this: I spent some time correcting the celebrations. I thought there's times we probably got a little too carried away. But again, these guys are having fun. They're making plays, and look at Malo on the 45-yard line. He's given it's in bounds. He doesn't even know if it's in bounds or not, but he's over there doing it. He's got a catch here on the 45. And I will say this, our kids really enjoy each other, and they play for each other, and that's really fun when they celebrate each other. And that's a heck of a play.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job by Kane. You had another interception you mentioned earlier, the Morse one as well. Great job by the defense winning the turnover battle the other day, but I think 2 more plays here. We'll go 1 offense and 1 defense. How's that sound, Coach?
Yeah. And that's we were 3-0, I think, in the turnover battle. I think we were 3-0. Yep. And so, the offense not turning it over and the defense getting 3, that's going to make it for an easy day.
So this one, another play where you didn't really have a stunt or anything going on there. It was just guys working hard and getting upfield.
Yeah. I felt like, we did enough twisting and stunting early in the game, and now you just pin your ears back and go and let the guys kind of do a natural pass rush. We did have a little stunt, an up and under. So it's not an overload. It's just a game. That's what we call it. It's just a game. And so it's a 2-man game on each side, and the defensive tackles try to hit the outside shoulder or the inside shoulder, of the offensive tackle, and kind of pin that tackle so that when the guy on top comes back underneath, that guard can't pick him up. And so it's a really nice 2-man game on top, and Max Elrod does a nice job. And Max is a guy that this is what happens as long as this is the trick to this one. When Max goes up, he can't get so quick to the quarterback that he doesn't get a good shot on the tackle. So he's got to get a shot on that tackle's inside shoulder and then ricochet vertical. And he does a nice job of that. And he creates a little separation for himself, and then he gets a sack, or at least I think he forces the quarterback up on this one. Or maybe he does get the sack. I can't remember.
Yeah, he gets the sack on this one.
Yeah, there you go. But the nice thing about that one right there, if you look at it one more time, he does a nice job of getting back outside. And we talk about getting to the near foot of the quarterback. So as 56 on top here, he ricochets off the top tackle, and then he's got to adjust right there. See how he gets back outside? He wants to keep that quarterback on the inside digit so that he can't get back outside of him, because even though you're running through the inside shoulder of the tackle, he still has to contain the quarterback in the pocket. So some of those things that, for a young kid as a redshirt freshman, and he was Max was our scout team player of the year last year as a true freshman, kid out of Harrisburg, and now obviously as a redshirt freshman making his mark.
All right, one last one I'm going to show here, Coach. Like I said, I had a tough time picking all these, but this one's Jack Merkwan.
Yeah, this is kind of epic because I'm screaming, run it, just run it, because it's second and about 5. And he absolutely unloads a laser right here. And then he kind of comes to the sideline right here. He's like, what? I'm going to throw that every time. And I'm like, I just kind of drop my head. And he's a great kid. He's awesome to coach. But he is very he's wide open. Why would I throw it? I'm like, I don't know. There's, 8 minutes left in the game, and I'm trying to run the clock. But he doesn't always see the way I see it. But what a catch by Jack. And I thought Jack really had a little bit of a breakout moment for him. He played the most snaps he's played, I think, and he really had a huge PI call early in the game. They called against him, and he drew that penalty. And then right here, look at his foot. He toe taps the heck out of this thing. I know you were right there in front of it. You're pointing there.
I got my finger. I got my hand out pointing at it. That was
absolutely
great. Yep.
Absolutely. So pretty awesome. And again, happy for that kid. And again, the guys on the sideline. And we had some other guys get in the game later on. That guys start chanting their name and stuff. And so just a lot of fun to have that kind of experience for our kids at home.
Well, Coach, that was a fun one. We'll go through the stats next. Sam, you want to take us through some of the statistics?
Absolutely. So let's take a look at those team stats here. USF cracking the 500-yard mark of total offense on Saturday. Doing a lot of it through the air. 391 passing yards, only 115 on the ground. Outgaining the Warriors, who had 371 total yards. Penalties, relatively clean game by both teams. I mentioned some of the ones that stuck out in the mind. You mentioned that PI, that third quarter, things kind of rolled on the Warriors, but only one accepted penalty for the Cougars on Saturday. Great to see. 28 first downs for USF, only 18 for Winona. They went 3 for 8 on third down. USF going 75%, 8 for 12. And 0 for 1 on fourth down, but held the ball for 35 minutes to the 24 minutes that the Warriors had. Tate Schaefer having another day, 20 for 25, 391 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, as well as tacking 1 on the ground. Bubba Tan just doing his thing once again, 18 carries for 82 yards, and that long touchdown that we mentioned earlier is round. Hank Brown Jr., 8 receptions for 136 yards. And I want to give a special shout out to Hank HBJ. He might not have the touchdown numbers necessarily to show it up, but we mentioned this earlier off air, and I wanted to pull it up to look. But HBJ is sitting currently at 6th in the country in total receiving yards and all of Division II, and he's actually 4th in the country in receptions per game as well. So just consistent, Mr. Consistent here, hauling in. Sure glad he's on our team. Just to have that safety blanket, no matter who's a quarterback, Cam Dean, Tate Schaefer, Bennebreg, having HBJ there. Great to see. And Isaiah Manuel just sneakily hauling in 3 receptions for nearly 100 yards. And Noah Robertson, we mentioned his 2 touchdowns at the beginning of the game as well. That's pretty efficient there. 3 receptions, 35 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's quite the stat line for Noah Robertson as well.
That's a great point too, Sam. I mean, and again, I didn't realize he was that high in the rankings, but I feel like Adonis the last 2 weeks has really been a breakout guy. And then all of a sudden Hank comes back and it's, 8 catches for 130 yards. And the crazy part is 1 touchdown on the year. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, that's what the NCAA stat sheet says. So you got two games here to maybe change that. I don't want to tip off Wayne here or anything, Coach, but yeah.
What's the chances of having 70 grabs and only 1 touchdown? That's kind of wild. Because it's not like we don't throw him the ball. It's just weird that he doesn't get in the end zone more. But yeah, I guess we're certainly not sitting there going, let's get him in the end zone. It's just, it's how the flow of the game goes. But that's a pretty wild stat that many catches and only, of all those guys in the top 15, 20 in the country, that's got to be by far the fewest amount of touchdowns for that many catches. That's crazy. Yeah.
He did have at least 1 called back because of penalty where he scored. Or no, there was the one where they said he stepped out of bounds. got that one called back.
Oh, yeah, against Duluth, yep.
Yep. All right, so defensively, Sam.
Yeah, so taking a look at the defense, London Kolb leading the way for total tackles with 9, as well as tacking on a TFL. Garrett Hoffman had 6 tackles. Kane McWilliams had 4 tackles, as well as that interception that we highlighted there. Malol Wells had 3 total tackles, as well as 2 big pass breakups early there in the first half. Jordan Medrano getting after it as well. 3 total tackles, as well as a TFL, as well as a half a sack. Owen McLeod, 3 tackles, and Jake Hutchell had getting on the stat sheet there for the tackles, as well as having a tackle for loss. We mentioned some of those big sacks earlier in the coach's clicker. Deshaun Rolick, Max Elrod, London Kolb, Jordan Medrano. It's always good to see the stat sheet that full when it comes to sacks. Guys are getting after it there. Bo Giblin with the fumble recovery. Cade Morse and Kane McWilliams having the 2 picks. And then I mentioned the Maloa's pass breakups, as well as Garrett Hoffman having one as well. So guys all across the board seeing lots of different names, and great to see that as far as the depth for the Cougar defense.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the fumble recovery you talked about, stuff we've been drilling lately. You guys remember the Peanut Tillman punch, the Peanut punch by the old Chicago Bear guy, on that punch action. And Gavin Nunnally is a kid that he transferred in from St. Thomas. He's always been really good at that. But he struck that ball late in the game and punched that ball out, which was really positive. And so seeing the things that we practice, translate into game action was really a positive too, on top of all the other stuff.
Yeah, it was good to have so many names there on Saturday. You got Jake Hope, tackle for loss. You got, Jordan Medrano. You're Owen McLeod. You got all these linebackers on there, but your defensive line really played some good football too as well, Coach.
Yeah, really positive. And again, just happy for those young guys getting their opportunity. And kind of an unsung hero there was, James did a great job. And, I think even Denham Blackstead, the freshman, I think he got 10 to 15 reps. That was positive. And so, all in all, those guys step up. That's the expectation. Obviously, another week. We're hoping to get a couple guys back this week that hadn't played the last few weeks, so that would help. But I feel confident those guys can step up. They've demonstrated that, and it just makes for a bright future.
All right. Well, Coach, before we honor our sponsor here and talk about players of the game, I was able to load some of those Halloween costume photos. So you want to take us through any of these?
Yeah, well, there you go. There it is, the outhouse. You can see Alex Maxim up there, the porta potty. I'm not sure what Cam Dean is. He said he was either Slim Shady or somebody else. Isaiah Emanuel from the old Michael Jordan, I forget the cartoon movie, basketball. Jack Z with a solid Stone Cold Steve Austin. You got Tyler Eukin, which thankfully he's in the back there. He's a toga guy at 6'9". Jerome Jackson there in the Halloween, the classic Joker outfit. And then this one right here, the Max Dickinson, he's a freshman defensive tackle. So just as an FYI, our non-travel or non-dress guys, those guys lift on Friday afternoon. And so they get an extra lifting on Fridays while the travel dress guys do a walkthrough. But Bennett Brick, you can see him in the Spirit with his cowboy get up in a scooter. And then how about the freshman over here? I think that Houston Farms back there flexing. Look at those guns on Houston, man. He's just a freshman. I'm not sure who the ninja is. I can't remember who that is. Maybe it's Markel. I can't remember. And then you got the 2, whatever these clowns are, kind of sadistic-looking guys, a couple of rocked-up little dudes, and then the Jason mask back there. But I think that's pretty much it. I can't see the other 2 guys there. But, the guys had an option to wear a costume to work out in, and a lot of fun. Kids had a good time with it. And like I mentioned, the women's softball team was kind enough to pick out we had 30 candy bars, full-size candy bars, and then they got to pick out the top 30 costumes, and not necessarily a number 1 overall winner, but 30 guys that the effort was acknowledged. And let's just say there was probably more good costumes than there were candy bars. That was positive. Yeah, so we had a lot of fun with it. Kids had a blast. And obviously we're trying to win football games and stay focused. And that's one of the things I talked about on Sunday is you can do fun stuff like that on Friday. And sometimes if you're not successful, people point to that stuff and say, well, you weren't focused or locked in. I choose to say, listen, you control if you want to be locked in or not, right? A silly costume's not going to matter. And at the end of the day, it's 3 hours of real time and you've got 60 minutes of football. You have to focus in that moment. And what you do during the week, how you prepare, all that stuff. Something like a costume that you wear to a walkthrough on Friday shouldn't affect the outcome. Just like if the bus breaks down or last year at St. Thomas with the weather delay, like those are great ways to demonstrate to our kids that you don't get to use excuses about why you're not focused or why you are focused. You just have to focus. And so sometimes in a kind of roundabout way, we use these things as teachable moments. And that was a great opportunity to say, we can have fun. We can enjoy the experience. At the end of the day, we got to lock in and play on Saturday. Let's go. And I thought after the first quarter, defensively, we locked in better. But I don't think they scored 14 points because, Tyler, you can wear a toga outfit on Friday. I guess that's my point. So ultimately, we've got to be locked in when it's time to go. And this will be a great challenge this Saturday.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we had a great time as well. So it was lots of fun. But before we move on, attention, USF Cougar fans. Atomic Wings is back as sponsor of the Coup Coach Cast this season. Atomic Wings, still located at 1502 East 69th Street in Sioux Falls, just north of the USF Stadium. There's a new location at 3217 South Sertoma Avenue, just across the street from Roosevelt High School as well. Atomic Wings offers customers fresh, never frozen, natural, and hormone-free chicken wings, hand-tossed in 15 different proprietary sauces. The food from Atomic Wings is the perfect complement to football season. Also take advantage of the weekday lunch special. You can get a 3-piece tenders or sandwich combo for only $9.99 every Monday through Friday from 11 to 4. The menu includes traditional wings, boneless wings, chicken tenders, sandwiches, or flatbreads. There's also a wonderful selection of sides, and don't forget the fried Oreos for dessert. Huge portions, excellent selection of food, and a sponsor of the Coup Coach Cast. You can't go wrong. There's something for everyone in the family at Atomic Wings. Order online at atomicwings.com or come in. Located at 69th Street, just north of the USF football stadium. Perfect for pregame tailgates or postgame celebrations with friends and family. Well, guys, like we always do every week, there's some Atomic Players of the Week this week. And, Coach, go ahead and take us through those.
Yeah, offensively, I thought Tate had a really solid football game. And then, of course, Noah had the 2 touchdown catches. And just really pleased with as many young guys as we played on the D-line. Really pleased with Preston and Caleb, our 2 seniors. Preston was extremely positive. He was a great leader on Saturday. Kind of a quiet guy overall, but I've really watched him develop and kind of grow into this role as the season's progressed, which is really positive for us. And then Caleb, I thought, played his best football game of his career since he's been here on Saturday, which was really positive. Those guys were really solid on the inside. And then the special teams player of the week was Scott Dixon. I thought he really punted well. We pinned him inside the 10 on the 1. And then he had another 40-yard punt with the crosswind, was really positive. And I think he's really improved the last couple of games here. He's striking the ball much better, which has been positive. He's really starting to come along. And then the scout guys, Chance Schollerman's a guy that shows up every day. He's a redshirt freshman, works his tail off, had a big tackle on special teams on Saturday. And then Gavin Stahl. I thought Gavin was kind of out on the outskirts last couple of weeks with the triple option, and then getting back to a more traditional offense. He fit the quarterback from Winona really well and did a great job impersonating him during the week, and even got his first college snap. He took the actual last snap of the game on the kneel down, which is crazy because that's 2 brothers playing in the same game. Same thing with Gavin Dean, got his first college snaps with his older brother Cam. So it's fun to see the brothers, be able to kind of follow in the older one's footsteps. But really proud of all these guys. They worked really hard, and we had a great week.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty special before the game. I'm down there on the sideline, and I see the Stahl brothers kind of giving each other a hug before the national anthem and everything, and it was a cool moment for that family.
Yeah, they've been through a lot in the last year. People know their background and the story, and they had a huge contingent here from all over as far as Wisconsin and Minnesota came down for the game. And I know that, it's a big moment for his family and those guys, and to see those guys both at least have an action in the game, and had a chance to see some of the family members in the post game. Went out to dinner with my family and ran into them, and I know they were really proud of both those boys and overcome a lot in the last year, and we're really proud of them, and we'll keep on working to get better on the field, but just can't say enough about how proud I am of those 2 kids for what they've gone through.
All right, Coach. Well, as far as the NSIC standings go, the Cougars with the big win jump over Winona State into right in the middle of the South Division standings. Overall, you're actually higher. You're ahead of Wayne State in the overall standings, but I don't know how this all works. Something along those lines. But, that's who you got this week. So if you look at the standings in the South Division, Augustana's in first place. They're at 4-0 in the South, 8-0 overall. Minnesota State's 4-1. Okay. But then you got Wayne State at 3-1 and Sioux Falls at 2-2 in the South. So that's where you got to go. You got someone ahead of you in the standings that you're facing this week.
Yeah, tremendous challenge, and you look at the conference alignments in general. I talked to the kids last week about these next couple Saturdays are separation Saturdays. We're going to separate ourselves from the masses if we can. I don't know what Northern and Moorhead have left, but I know we've beaten Northern. We don't see Moorhead, of course. Actually, I think Moorhead still plays Mankato, if not mistaken, the last week of the season. And then, of course, Minnesota State's got 2 more games, as well as Wayne. We got Wayne this weekend. So, we need to keep on fighting and keep climbing. And like we've said since day one, well, I'll tell you how good we are on November 15th. But we've got a chance to finish, who knows what will shake out, second in the league, potentially. We're not going to win the league. We understand that. But if that goal is no longer on the table, what's the next best goal? And that's to win on Saturday. Put ourselves ahead of Wayne State in the schedule. We did that with Winona State last week. And a tremendous challenge for us. They're a really good football team. They're really good defensively. They're the best team in the league by far in stopping the run game. They're really physical on defense. And then offensively, they've got one of maybe the best back in the league, statistically speaking. I think their starting tailback has rushed for over 1,000 yards already this season, almost 120 a game. They are really physical up front. They've got a former USF player playing center for them, a kid that was on the team when I first got here, Will Waschenberger. He's a really talented guy. He kind of makes him go up front. He's their starting center. He's an all-conference player. They had a changeover at quarterback, kind of similar to us. They had a senior last year who was a longtime starter for them, and now they've kind of played a couple different quarterbacks. But Bennett Dannenbrink is a kid out of here, out of Sioux Falls, O'Gorman, that started for him a few games. I think he'll start for him on Saturday. Really, really talented tight end. Their tight end is one of the best tight ends in the league. He leads their team in receptions. He's a big part of their blocking scheme in the run game. So, we'll have our hands full. Alec Kowalczyk is a guy, number 5, their middle linebacker. He's a really good player. He missed last year with an injury, but he's a really talented kid. I think he might even be an O'Gorman kid, if I'm not mistaken. But so they've got some local ties. They've got kids from this area that are coming back home to play here. And ironically, it's just the opposite of last week, where we had our struggles with Winona State in the past. And I told that to our kids all week long. Hey, this is the team that traditionally Sioux Falls has had some struggles with. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot. They're walking into the Bob with they haven't had a ton of success over the years. I think they've won twice in 10 games or something like that since 2014. So they're going to be motivated. They're going to be fired up. They're going to want to put a feather in their cap and beat us at our place. And they're the same way that we are. I know Coach Masters, he's a really good coach. Coach McLaughlin's a really good defensive coordinator. Those guys are going to be fired up, and this will be a knockdown, rock 'em, sock 'em, inside run period. I'm sure it'll be about 45 degrees and windy, and it'll be that classic late November, mid-November game where whoever wants it the most and who's going to prepare the hardest is going to come out on top.
I think it's worth noting too, Coach, just kind of taking a program view. And I know, well, you said it's November and we can do that, but we'll see where the chips lie. But I think it's worth noting from Saturday. I know I caught it on the post game with Tom. This was actually the University of Sioux Falls 100th NSIC victory. I was just was reminded of that looking at all the standings. And actually, the only 2 teams ahead of them since USF has joined the league has the most conference wins are Mankato and Duluth. Yeah. And so that's good company to be in. And so that's not to pat your back. I think there's more that lies ahead for this program, but I just think that is a testament to just where the program lies. And that was cool to see. And I just think it was worth shouting out. You talk about kind of seeing those numbers and seeing those stats, but that one certainly stuck out for me. So congratulations for notching that. But I think there's more ahead. So.
Yeah, and I agree. I appreciate you saying that. And I think the victory on Saturday makes us 6 wins, and that's the standard for a winning season. So that's the 31st time in the last 32 years that the University of Sioux Falls had a winning record. That's a heck of an accomplishment. Again, I'm the guy responsible for the one non-winning season, but I look back to the first year of 3-8, where we've come from and where we're at. And, the season's a funny thing. You can kind of have those regrets and wishes and wants and could have, would have, should have, but you have to take care of 1 week at a time. And you think about that since 2012, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, right around there, 13 years of conference football and 100 wins. That's impressive. And I think I'm certainly appreciative to be the head football coach of this program. I don't take it lightly. It's a burden that I fully accept, that there's an expectation here to be in the top 2 or 3 teams in the league every year. That's what Saturday's about. Saturday is about, and I told our kids this, it's a program game. You win these games because it keeps you in the top tier of the league, and that's where we want to be. Yes, you want to win the league. There is no doubt in my mind. That is our goal, to win the league. But if you're not going to win the league, you certainly don't want to finish 9 or 10. You want to be in the top 2 or 3 teams in the league and put yourself there year in and year out. And that's why people say things like that's a really quality program, because you're not just first, second, or third, and then all of a sudden 8, 9, or 10 the next year. You're consistently at the top of the league. You're competing for conference championships. And that's where we want to be. After 3 years in almost, I'm not exactly happy with where we're at. I certainly want to be winning the conference titles and going to playoffs and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is on the table. Last year we were in the conversation. If things shake out, we could still maybe be in the conversation, but that's out of our control. So what can we control? go out and get a victory on Saturday, put ourselves in the top part of the league, and let's see where it shakes out at the end of the season. But yeah, you're right. I think there's a lot to be said. That's a lot of wins. I think at the end of the day, we want to be a part of a successful program, and by being consistently competitive and consistently winning games, that's not always easy to do. You look across college football; it's hard to win. And that's the one thing you asked about, maybe the vibe in the locker room and the team right now. We celebrate victories. I don't take it for granted. I don't. I never do. I used to, but now I don't, because I know how hard it is to do it and how many things have to fall into place and how your kids have to be locked in over 12 weeks. And so appreciate our kids, appreciate all the support by everybody, and we're excited to play one more game. That's the one thing I do know. We're guaranteed is only one more game at the Bob. It's senior day. Come out and support these kids. We've got a great group of young guys that have stuck with the program. Guys like Cal Botsford, who's been here for 7 years, Connor Rice for 6 years, Jerome Jackson's been here for 5 years. Guys like Cam Dean that's been here for 3 years, Isaiah Emanuel for 1. I go on down the road, Jags Helsinski is going to finish up his career here. Those guys have made a big difference in our program, and to come out and recognize those guys and give them one last home game, we want to set them out as victory.
Yeah, Coach. Senior day is always a special time, but this Wayne, you mentioned Wayne. The Wayne team has a lot of kids from the Sioux Falls area, and they're going to bring some fans. They always bring fans to the Bob. If you look back, we do not want to see a bigger tailgate over on the Wayne in the visiting side of the parking lot than we have over in the home side of the parking lot. So if you're watching this, get out to the tailgate party. Go support the Cougars on Saturday. Support those seniors. Cheer on the Cougars. Lots of different things to look forward to. As far as the game goes, it's Saturday, November 8th at Bob Young Field, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Kickoff scheduled for 1:00 p.m. Don't watch on the NSIC network unless you're like down in Texas or Arizona or something. If you're anywhere close, get to the Bob. Okay, there's no excuse. I'm gonna go just start yelling at people if you're not there. Okay, I'm not gonna tweet anything, any results or any of that stuff. You need to be at the Bob, paying attention to what's going on. You can bring your Walkman out to the Bob and listen to Tom, Tim, and I on the call on 98.1 FM or 12:30 a.m. Pregame show starts at 12:30 for that one. So lots of good stuff. As far as Wayne goes, they're coming into this one with a 5-4 record on the season. They kind of went back and forth for a while, and some of these wins are like really impressive wins. Beating Moorhead 27-17, win 35-20 over Mankato a couple weeks ago. So they've had some really good wins this season, Coach.
Yeah, they are. Like I said, I know Logan's been there for a while, and I competed against him when I was at Minnesota State. And Scott McLaughlin's been there for a long time. They're DC. They take a lot of pride in how they do things. They're well coached. They recruit well. They know who they are. They play to their strengths. A lot of kids with local ties. Yeah, this is as much of a rivalry game as anything. I mean, it's obviously Augustana is our rival, but these guys are right there as much as we go back and forth in the recruiting battle. So I'm really looking forward to it. One last hurrah at home. Really proud of our kids. Really want to finish with the type of mentality. We've won 3 straight. Let's get to 4 straight, another 4-game winning streak here. There's just a lot of positives on the line. And like I said before, these guys have really worked their tails off to put ourselves in a position. Let's go out and finish the deal and get 2 more wins, but you can't get 2 more if you don't get this one Saturday. So got to focus on that. 1-0 mentality. Great week of practice. We're off to a good start, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, Coach.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Well, as always, special thanks to Tom Frederick, Tim Hyatt, Matt Witwicky, USF Athletic Department, Sam Tastad as well, and the NSIC. For Coach Jim Glogowski and Sam Dooyema, I'm Chad Birger. Until next time, go Cougars.